Good evening, everyone who are watching us from India or similar time zones. This is Vivek on behalf of Toast to Talk on our sixth episode, focused on the Saudi Grand Prix for this time. And I obviously have a fun set of panelists, regular faces that you have seen. Yeah, I was getting replayed on myself, but sorry for the hiccups. But yeah, we've got a fantastic set of panelists, regulars that we've seen time and again, who have shared their insights on everything F1. Do a quick round of introductions. First up, welcome Tejas.
Hi Vivek, hi everyone. How are you guys doing?
All good. And I'm going to come back to you pretty soon to understand your insights on what's been happening so far. Next up, we have Kazim with us. Hey, Kazim.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I'll be switching on my video in a couple of minutes. I'm just finishing up an errand, so glad to be here. And if you guys don't already know, I'm a very recent F1 fan. So obviously, I have a slight favor for the Mercs and Lewis Hamilton. So yeah, that's about me for now.
You're going to hear a lot of fun perspectives on that because he is the center of attention for what's lined up the end of the season. Our other panelist is Vignesh, who's having some network issues, so he should probably be back on any moment. So we'll introduce him once he's on. Ahlan wa sahlan to all our viewers. We are in the Middle East leg of F1. We had Qatar a few weeks back. Exciting race when you consider from where Vettel started off to where he got. When Verstappen was and where he got to also. A lot of excitement in that, but I think the focus has sort of switched to what's lined up in Saudi. It's the first time we're having a race there. A lot of us thought we might not even get a race there, considering the rumor is that the track was probably just got done on maybe Thursday or maybe even Friday just before the practice. So, a lot of drama for the racetrack itself, and there's a lot of drama on the racetrack. Let's hear up from our panelists. What are their initial impressions of Saudi Arabia as a track?
Generally, yeah, thanks, Vivek. Yeah. So generally, when we have so much of controversy with respect to what Saudi brings into the F1 community and things happening in Saudi Arabia, human rights, etc., which I don't want to bring in, it really doesn't give much hope. But for the first time I saw safety car hot lap around the circuit, I had to close my eyes a couple of times because it was so close and so fast. So that gave me a little bit of hope that at least this weekend will go fine. But I think that was the whole belief that we have some sort of hope was vindicated when we went to the qualifying. I think it was one of the most thrilling qualifying that I've watched in recent years, full of drama. And this track actually epitomizes the fact that Formula One is the ultimate challenge in motorsport. Then this can't get tougher than this. Full tilt to 320, 325 kilometers per hour. You have corners, but you cannot take your foot off the accelerator at 325 kmph. Making a corner, it's just incredible. So I think this is as tough as it can get on this planet in motorsport arena, and I'm very happy that it turned out to be something of a positive considering all the negative things that we had coming in. So all good. Qualifying was amazing. Looking forward to a great race.
I agree. And I think just based on if people have followed the practice, the qualifying, the way these star F1 drivers have struggled, it really shows how difficult a track it is and how brilliant a set of drivers that they are, that they've made all other tracks look so easy. And then when you realize that they've been challenged and how they've managed, and you can see this, even the difference in the various runs that they have, right? They have a bad run, and how they're able to come back and get numbers on the board, which make you feel like, oh, this is like a piece of cake. Kazim, what are your thoughts?
To be honest, I was and I continue to remain a little bit skeptical about this track because yeah, it just got completed like what a day before the pre-practice session. So yeah, and I think I've read the rules somewhere that it has to be that a track has to be completed about like say 100 days or something before an actual event will happen, and that FIA is really stringent about those. But yeah, so when like FIA has provided a lot of legroom for Jeddah GP, that is actually very not cool, I would say, and also really raises the question of money does make a lot of things okay. But yeah, considering all those things aside, I am a little bit hopeful about the track to see that it will bring about really fast-paced action. But I just hope for the safety of the drivers and the sport, they just did a good job of the track and not just rush it up just so that they can have a Grand Prix on their hands. Yeah, that's about my impressions.
Makes sense. I mean, but the general media articles that you see, and obviously you have to take it with a pinch of salt. I feel at least the track was done up with respect to what FIA's regulation stated that they need for the time frame. A lot of these frills that you'd say, right? The stadium area, the manicure, not the manicure, but the land setup, the landscaping is where they basically weren't ready till the last moment. Hopefully, safety has always been a priority for FIA, and that continues to be of key importance. And I'm sure even Vettel, leaving his driver hat aside, has been a very strong advocate of driver safety. And we've seen that a number of times where he's sort of switched on and taken a fire extinguisher or really focused on making sure that everyone is safe. So in case there were any challenges or doubts around that, I'm sure the drivers would have raised their hands. Focus. So keeping all of that aside and moving on to the drama on the racetrack itself, Kazim, great news for you with an lockout that Mercedes has on the front row. Probably because they got a bit lucky, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But what are your thoughts with respect to the lockout that Mercedes has?
I would say it's great, considering that Merck is on a very strong position now to secure their constructor championship. But I'm also a little bit, worried that, considering there's the idea about how Bottas doesn't close the door or leave space. So I'm also hopeful that we might see some really good racing and that we will have a really good battle. So even though, like I said, I hope that Merck and Lewis win the championship, but like I want the championship to go down to the last wire in Abu Dhabi, and rather than being decided here. So yeah, I'm just hoping that we see a good amount of racing at this track.
Yep. Tejas, what are your thoughts on the qualifying results?
Yeah, I mean, till that last corner, it was looking a little different. Track position is of paramount importance in a high-speed track like Qatar because you don't have a lot of overtaking opportunities. Maybe just in turn one and probably at the turn. I think corner 22, 23 is the place where you can overtake. Still, when the track is so fast and you don't have slow corners, I don't think you'll be able to overtake a lot of people. So front row lockout is great for Mercedes as a constructor. It's just that they have to execute the race really well because they're going to something of an unknown with the new track, with the tire degradation, etc. But if you had given a choice where to start, I think this is a dream come true for Mercedes team. 1, 2, and Max at 3, and probably if there is a problem with this gearbox, further 5 plays down as well. So I think everything worked out pretty well for Mercedes in the end, although there was a little bit of luck involved. But I think even Hamilton and Bottas did the best that they could, and in the end, it just favored them in the last corner. Good for them.
For all our viewers who are probably wondering what Tejas means by the last corner, let's ask him what he means by that luck and the last corner.
It just breaks my heart to talk about what happened because I've been watching Formula One for quite a while now, and there are moments which inspires and just makes you stand up and take notice. And that was one of the moment, at least, was shaping up to be till the last corner of the qualifying in Q3. Max was up 4/10 on Lewis Hamilton. He just had to make the last corner and he would have obliterated Hamilton's time, but he locked up just before the final corner and he tried to save the lap. He accelerated and then couldn't control the car, and because Jeddah is such a narrow track with the concrete walls to your side, he hit the wall and then maybe he has broken his gearbox as well. But 95%, it reminded me of Singapore 2018, I think, from Hamilton, who came from nowhere, and I think he was 5/10 or 6/10 up on P2. I don't remember who was P2 at that point. It's just one of those moments that you talk about for the next 20, 25 years, the inspirational moment. It was shaping up to be, but I feel really bad for Max. I think at 23, he has the temperament to at least stitch up a 95% lap like that. He deserved to be on pole. I'm not speaking as taking sides of Red Bull or anyone. I think as a Formula One fan, you want those magic moments every single time he was the race, and he was there to give us the same. But in the end, things didn't work out. So feel bad for the man, but he still starts P3. Hopefully, he doesn't have a gearbox issue, and we'll have a good race today.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, I was glued to the screen as he went past all those corners, and it was like purple, and purple on top of Hamilton is a big deal, right? Irrespective of whichever track. And Hamilton had just done a crazy lap around, and he was provisional pole at that point. And the way Max was going, you were like, this is sheer magic. This is why people watch F1. This is what defines a brilliant drive. And then that last moment, lock up and how he tried to do, and you just could see the audience, everyone was like, what just happened? They actually panned in on Hamilton discussing the same with his crew. And, even from his standpoint, he was like, I got lucky. Like his reactions made you realize that, yes, I just got lucky in this particular scenario. Hopefully, we are going to see a lot more magical moments like that. Verstappen is pretty early in his career. So we're sure this is not going to be a setback.
Vivek, if I can.
Sure, yeah, do chime in.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I was just thinking that, with the whole luck factor coming in, Hamilton getting lucky that Max had a slight crash at the last corner of the lap. I feel like, that is where the whole experience versus the new champion thing comes into play. So, I feel like Max was doing a phenomenal lap, but at the last corner, he slightly misjudged it, and that was one of the rare. That's why the whole mistake came into place, and this might potentially, be a decider of how the championship might sway either ways. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it also maybe showcases, like, it's difficult for us sitting as armchair enthusiasts to really figure out what's happening out there. But you bring a valid point that for Hamilton, the experience played out, and maybe that 4/10 of a second that he was slower relative to Max was him smartly playing it out versus Max probably going a little overboard and not being able to control it for the type of track that it is. Obviously, experts out there would be better placed, especially people who have had the experience of driving on new tracks, which none of us unfortunately have had a chance yet. So we're just going to leave that with a benefit of doubt on experience also playing out there. But I think one critical point that Kazim did highlight is, for all you know, considering how close this championship is at this point, moments like this could make or break the championship, and probably might just become the highlight of 2021 when we're discussing about it 10 years down the line. With that, quickly moving on to our fundamental section, that is where we talk about some of the basic concepts, the jargon of F1. There are a lot of you new joiners as fans for F1 must be wondering, what is all of this that people are talking about? For today, we've picked up a topic that's been the buzz for a while. Tejas just brought it up also with respect to the gearbox change, which might give Max a 5 grid penalty. Let's check with the team on, what are penalties and what does it mean with respect to engine change penalties and things like that. So, Tejas, if you want to talk about penalties that you're aware of.
I'll probably start with the gearbox because I did mention about it, and I think it will be a topic of speculation until the race starts today. Gearbox change. A gearbox is expected to last for 6 consecutive races, and in between, if you change a gearbox because of a damage or an accident or something, you have a 5-place grid penalty automatically. So the worst thing for Max was he had just taken a new gearbox. He was due for a new gearbox and just taken a new one, and then this thing happened. Hopefully, he has not damaged it a lot, and I hope that Red Bull also plays it smart and do not do any workaround to fix it up. I mean, if it's actually damaged, I really hope they change the whole gearbox itself, because I think starting from P8, I don't see Max really struggling to get into the podium places back again, because Red Bull have a great race pace. So if I want to take an example for a grid place penalty for gearbox, it's simple. You change the gearbox within the permitted duration, then you get a 5-place grid penalty.
Yep, that makes sense. Carson, would there be any other penalties that you'd like to talk about and introduce our viewers to?
Sorry, can you come again? I missed that point.
Yeah, are there any other types of penalties that you'd like to talk about? The drive-through.
Just a second, one second.
Okay, till Kazim gets back, some of the other penalties. So one is the grid penalty that they just sort of highlighted, and that plays out with a lot of components that our drivers use. And this came in primarily because F1 as a sport wanted to focus on reducing costs. So they came up with, the number of engines that you could use, the gearboxes, and a lot of components to sort of keep the costing in play. Some of the other types of penalties that we usually hear when drivers either make mistakes on the track in terms of causing potential unsafe conditions, we have a couple of penalties like a drive-through penalty, where the driver has to drive through the pit lane, and in the pit lane you obviously have a speeding restriction. So in that speed restriction, everyone else on the track is zooming by you and you get that penalty. There are other penalties like stop and go, which I'll let Kazim chime in on if he's able to hear us.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, for the stop, there's the stop and go penalty, right? Which I believe Hamilton served last year at one race. I don't remember which one that is. I think that was for practicing in outside of the required spot that is given. So that is one. And when you say drive-through penalty, I think that reminds me of Schumacher actually very cleverly using the drive-through penalty to win the championship in the last moments of the race. So yeah, I believe each of the penalties, when they have been brought in year over year, there have been loopholes, and they are trying to tighten all those loopholes as they go every time. So yeah, that's what I can remember as of now.
Yep. I mean, Schumacher's always been the master of strategy. So he's leveraged a lot of things to make it work out for him. And when I say Schumacher, I mean Michael Schumacher. For all our millennial viewers who might be thinking we're talking about Mike Schumacher, who is his son. With respect to some of the other penalties, as Kazim highlighted, with respect to people breaking the rules off the track, on the track, stop and go is one. We also have time penalties where if someone's taken off an unfair position change because they went off the track and got back in, and if it is believed by the race stewards who decide all of these rules and the penalties in play, they could give drivers a 5-second or a 10-second penalty. What that means is if the driver takes a stop in the pit lane, they would stop for 5 seconds there, account for it, and then get done with whatever they have to with respect to pitting in. If they don't pit in, those 5 seconds or 10 seconds are added to their final race time, and then the position is decided. So those are again different types of penalties. Tejas is back. So Tejas, we were just quickly discussing about the stop and go penalty, the 5-second, 10-second grid penalty. Kazim highlighted about how Schumacher has used it to his advantage, the drive-through penalty. Anything else you wanted to share about penalties in general?
Yeah, there's one more topic that I think was a point of speculation last time around in Qatar as well, was the double wave yellow, right? I think it's been discussed again in the flag episode, I think if I'm not wrong, few weeks ago. So why I'm bringing it up is because Hamilton also had a double waved yellow during FP3 or FP2, if I'm not wrong, but he's been reprimanded because it was an error from the steward. Now, double wave yellow, you need to slow down, no questions asked, instant slow down. But if you don't, then you get a grid penalty when you're starting the race. So, or I mean, if it happens during the race, then you'll be given a time penalty. Again, it will be similar, 5 to 10 seconds penalty. And now, the point of speculation is the same thing happened to Max in Qatar because of an error from the steward. But then again, it was a double waved yellow and he got a 5-place penalty. But the same thing happened to Lewis here in Saudi Arabia, and he gets a reprimand now. FIA have allowed, again, there is an official channel in FIA that you can go and complain or raise an appeal. Now, the FIA have said that anyone who wants to appeal for this certain judgment, then come forward and do raise an appeal. So I think Red Bull will be raising an appeal for the same. So we might not have heard the last of the double waved saga. I think it has moved on from Qatar to now Saudi Arabia, the championship protagonists at the action, at the heart of it once again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel this year's championship, at least the second half, feels like a teacher, he did a mistake,
Yes.
penalize him kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
From both sides.
I mean, in the end, right? I mean, it is a sport. It is kind of, big boys playing, right? Playing the game. So, and again, I mean, I know this is a multi-billion-dollar format and a sport, but then again, in the end, it is all about not giving an even inch to your competitors. So, it's just fascinating to watch.
And in this case, it would be millimeters. That's how close the F1 race scenarios are. And for people tuning in into the F1 world, based on the qualifying numbers that we have, right, with Hamilton, obviously a provisional pole, you'd be surprised to know that the person at the 9th place is less than a second behind him. And the person at the 20th place, actually, let's make it 19th because Mazepin didn't have a great run. The person at 19th, which is Mick Schumacher, is less than 2 seconds behind Hamilton. That's it. The difference between the start and the end is just under 2 seconds. And if you add Mazepin in, a little more than 2 seconds. That is the difference. What is 2 seconds? That was 2 seconds.
Yes, exactly. Could not have
So-
explained it better. Vivek. Good one.
Cool. Moving on to our next section, which is what the F1. Usually we pick up something controversial, debatable. I think on top of everyone's mind is, will today's race decide that this is Hamilton's 8th record-breaking championship, beating Michael Schumacher? Or are we going to see Max Verstappen heading to his debut championship? And will all of that get decided today? What do you guys think?
I feel, as a neutral, because I'm a Ferrari fan, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does matter if Lewis wins the 8th. That's a different topic altogether. But no, as a neutral in this 2021 in isolation, right? So I'd want probably Lewis to win and take the fastest lap as well, so that in the last race we go on equal footing. Max versus Lewis, no holds barred contest. Season finale 2021. I mean, it can't get. I'm not from Netflix, just to clarify, but it'll be a fantastic story for everyone to talk about for the next 10, 15 years. So last race, championship protagonists going on equal footing, and let the best racer win. So that is the ideal situation for me. I don't think either of the championship, either thing will be decided in Saudi Arabia today. But hopefully we'll have a good race, and looking forward to Abu Dhabi next week.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are actually now putting in a pretty high probability that Lewis is going to be level with Max at the end of this race, and Abu Dhabi will literally be their positions will decide who is the world champion for 2021. Like I was telling someone yesterday that God is an intern at Netflix.
Yes.
The amount of drama that they've created in F1 this year is just mind blowing. It has to be someone from Netflix involved there. Kazim, what are your thoughts?
The championship battle aside, the constructors battle aside, I am hoping for a really wild, podium today. I don't know if it will happen, but I'm hoping for a Bottas, Leclerc, and Gasly podium today, and hopefully that Lewis Hamilton and Max won't be on the podium, so that there'll be even more of a even more of a fire going into Abu Dhabi. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. But to be on the same line as everybody else, I feel like I don't think that Max's championship is going to be decided in Jeddah, though. I feel like it will still go to Abu Dhabi, and I'm hoping it doesn't get decided in the steward's office, but rather we will have an old-fashioned wheel-to-wheel battle, and the winner gets his fair share of champagne. That's all there is.
In case folks are having a doubt, like what if they both tie up and then they both crash out and they're on level at the end of the championship? What happens after that? How is the winner decided?
So I think how the winner will be decided is, if they are level on points, the number of race wins will be taken into consideration. And if the number of race wins are level-headed as well, then they would check for the maximum number of second places. And if it's still on the same, it will go for, they will check for the most number of third places. That's how they will go until the stewards decide fit. I think that's the official rule of the FIA.
And they probably won't have to go that far, because for this season, Max obviously has a big advantage over Hamilton in terms of race wins. But it's just the consistency with which Hamilton has stayed in the pack is why we have such a close championship going. into what looks like, based on common consensus, that Abu Dhabi will be where it will be decided and not Jeddah. That brings us to the last section, which is, I know all of you are going to be staying up at 11 p.m. India time to watch the race from being telecast live from Saudi Arabia, Jeddah to be specific. What are your predictions for tonight's race, Tejas? I know Kazim's already highlighted that we want to see a crazy result set. Tejas is going to be a bit happy about that because that gets Leclerc on the podium.
I still have him on the podium, just at P3 though. No, it'll be Lewis, Max, and Charles. I think Bottas, as you know, I mean, Bottas, I know he's a great driver, but I see him going down the pack for some weird reason because his car is not perfect this weekend. So I see him dropping out of the podium positions, but it'll be Lewis, Max, and Leclerc. But I don't know about the fastest lap though. It can be either Max or Lewis. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, my personal take for this race is one, while I wouldn't like it, but I feel just that the margin of error is so less over here, we will see some incidents. And because we'll see those incidents, strategy is going to play a big role. There, we're going to see a lot of undercutting playing out. We might call some of it just someone getting lucky, but I feel we're going to see a few surprises in tonight's race purely because how fast-paced a track it is. It's a brand new track. Overtaking is going to be difficult with all the corners that are playing out, and the driver is going to be so focused on just getting through the track that I feel with the margin of error, we will see some drama happening, which will lead to strategy playing an important role in deciding who wins today's race and what the podium order will be. Though I feel, at least after the last few races, the way Hamilton has really got that fire in him kindled, I'm sure he's going to be there in the podium unless something unfortunate happens around him. Max has really picked up in the last race. There were points where you felt that you can see the difference between a newbie, the pressures playing out on him. First time ever to be a world champion, so close to it. You're just 23, 24. You can feel that pressure playing out on him. Whether he thrives in that or succumbs to it, we're not sure. But I feel that's the if factor that's going to play out on how mentally strong, Max is to handle this. And I'm sure there's going to be a surprise on the podium today, whether it's Leclerc, which would make me also very happy, like Tejas, as you can see from my background. But it could also be one of the Alpha Tauris who might just come in, even though they're presently, I think, 6th and 8th, if I remember right. They have put in a surprising amount of pace in today's race. And you shouldn't forget that Perez is 5th. You would have liked him to be higher, but he's been a brilliant wingman for Verstappen all throughout. Could have done a lot more. Hasn't had the level of success we would have thought he would, but he's still out there and could, make things interesting as we look to what is a super exciting race at a lot of levels, whether it's the Constructors' Championship, the Drivers' Championship, and just the pinnacle of F1 racing with the new track, high-speed track, should be a lot of fun and excitement if you are an F1 fan just like us. Any last thoughts, comments, Kazim, Tejas, from your end before we wrap up for tonight's show?
Well, just hoping for a great race today. Just cannot wait for 11 o'clock. I think it's half an hour later than qualifying. I'm not sure why it started at 10:30 because I cannot even wait for a single race. It's just as interesting as it's so exciting. I don't remember a championship so close. I think the last time I felt this kind of an excitement was in 2012 when it was Alonso versus Vettel. That was the last time I felt really excited, and it's been 9 years now. So I'm just really looking forward to the race. Hopefully, it starts the very next minute, but no, I have to wait till for 4 more hours for the race. So yeah, I just cannot wait for it.
Similar words from my side. I feel like it's a great time to be an F1 fan happy I got to start watching F1 at this time, and let's just hope that no bad incidents happen and that we have a good race and a really good race to look forward.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard it time and again. This is going to be a cracker of a race, just in terms of all the things that are playing out. So hopefully, all of you are going to be watching that. And if you love the show, you have questions, put it down in the comment section. Let us know what do you want us to be talking about in our next show. Obviously, a lot of focus is going to be on the last race. This show will be along with the race that we have on 12th December, the finale at Abu Dhabi. As our panelists have already highlighted, that the championship will not get decided today, but will actually get decided at Abu Dhabi. So we'll be really nervous, really excited to be talking about what are the potential scenarios that could play out at Abu Dhabi and who will be the champion of one of the most exciting F1 championship years that we have seen in recent history. With that, Tejas, Kazim, once again, thanks a lot for being on Toast to Talk and hope to see you again in our next episode and wishing everyone an exciting F1 night. Take care. Bye bye.